Alec, welcome back. Black Mirror, season finale. Okay,
Wow.
the end of season 3.
It's taken so long. It's taken 6 weeks. This is easily the biggest season so far. Easily, it's double the length.
It's literally it's not. It's double the sum. It's double the
It's
length of the
double of
first
season
season.
one. Yes. Wait, yeah. Season two had
Season 2 had
four
4, and
episodes.
then we're at
Yeah.
6, and then I think season
Yeah.
4 is 6, season 5 is 3. So it's
Oh.
it's
Okay.
ebbs and flows.
Yeah. A little bit here, a little bit
But
column A, a little bit column B.
I mean, I gotta say we have to see how it finishes out. But I mean, I feel like last week's episode was the only real dud of the
You can
season.
kind of go up. You got to go up from here.
Yeah, and I feel like all the other ones were killers. We'll see. It's an extended episode.
We gotta do better. We gotta do. They gotta do better.
Well,
So
I didn't think it was that bad though. Even as the lowest point of the season,
it's. I mean,
it
it
could be
was just.
worse.
It just wasn't really remarkable in any way. I guess.
Hmm. But every other episode was. Every other
Yeah.
episode was nosedive, play
Yeah.
test, shut up and dance. These are killers.
Yeah.
What was the other one?
San Junipero.
San Junipero.
Happy one. Yeah.
Come on,
Good stuff.
come on now. As always, you can click the link in the description to see the highlights of our reaction. Come back afterwards for the discussion. All right.
All right.
Hated in the nation. What do you think?
Ah, um, did it really need to be that long? I don't know. Um, it was, I will say, even like I say that like complaining, but it's more just like a. It's interesting that they made it like just so much like a police drama that like it kind of has to be that length, right?
Hmm.
So I guess that makes sense. Um, I thought it was really good. I don't really know like I don't know how it works as necessarily as an episode of Black Mirror. Yeah, we see stuff technology, we have world building, we have all the staples of a Black Mirror episode. But it kind of works pretty well as just a general like who done it kind of mystery.
Hmm.
A lot of times in whodunits, though, you kind of know the person that's behind the whole thing to begin with, so it's a little weird that it's like, oh, it's this guy that we just sort of like learn
Yeah.
about three quarters of the way through the story.
Yeah, it's just a guy,
Yeah,
with his manifesto, whatever. You don't have
it's
a
and it's
connection to
weird.
him.
It's weird because like the whole reason he did it was because his partner slash flatmate was just was bullied online, so this convinces them that he has to like kill tons and tons of people just because she almost died from it, and it's
Shit,
like
people, they have consequences, right?
yeah, and it's like I get it, yeah, your actions like your word things that you say and do should have a consequence. In this sort of sense of like justice, right? You like, oh well, they say something horrible, well there's no repercussions, well I'm gonna change that, and it's like well, who made you
Yeah.
judge and executioner? And it's like, I guess in this guy's mind, it just made sense. Hack the system, use the bees to kill people. So
He did a bait and switch where it's like, oh, the consequences are for these like celebrities that are doing the
yeah,
wrongdoings, and everybody can contribute to that, but really the consequences are to the people that are being a part of
yeah,
it.
mm,
The favorite thing I like to bring up, I always think this every time I watch this, is that they also killed people who could have just been saying, you know what, maybe we shouldn't do this hashtag death too movement. But since they use that hashtag, they're going to get killed for that too, you know? Because sometimes when people use that hashtag, they're not necessarily supporting it. There could be someone
yeah,
like, okay, this hashtag death too stuff is crazy, and then
yeah.
you die by
There's
that.
even there's even a note. There's even people doing that you can see in the feed.
Yeah.
So he just killed a bunch of random people, like a handful of random people, maybe more than a handful there.
Yeah, we might have actually agreed with
Yeah,
the message of like these,
stop
like we
doing
don't
it.
agree with like there's consequences, and
Yeah,
but they just get roped in, and we're just gonna gloss over that. I know they aren't really thinking about that detail, but
yeah.
it's always stuck out to me. Because I could
It's
see
interesting.
myself. I would never participate in it, but I could see myself being like, "The fuck is going on with this hashtag Death Two thing?"
Yeah,
You
and
know.
then it's like, boom, there you go, you're dead.
So
But there's a lot of interesting little bits and pieces of commentary here about government overreach into people's privacy, the government's like role for like funding or doing anything is all sort of self interest. So like because the bees were seen as like a climate as sort of like a thing to help the climate because bees died off, they've been colony collapse, so that's an environmental thing. But then you see like really like ultimately the government really doesn't actually care that much about that. They're just like, oh, cool, a way to surveil
yeah,
people. Um, which is like I that's 100%. This I think the most terrifying thing about it is that that is 100% believable to me
right.
that that something like that would happen because I mean it already kind of basically happens anyway. Um, so
Not to this extent,
no,
but yeah. I mean, it was already fascinating the technology with these, just using the honey, these what do they recall them as? Honeybee mimicking
80
drone insects.
ADIs, yeah,
That's what they described them as.
yeah,
But yeah, just even using them as they were intended by this guy.
mm,
That's
mm-hmm.
fascinating because their the bee population's toast, and so that's cool. But then the way they manipulate it, there's some particularly terrifying parts when they're trapped inside, and it's like a
Yeah.
whole horror scene unfolding.
Oh yeah,
Basically,
with like the bees all like coming in, like the yeah, that's really scary. Like when they're all swarming the safe house.
and we commented on the music's really effective the whole way
The
through.
music is fantastic this episode. I really liked it a lot. There were times it was very understated, like almost like a Reznor Ross kind of like composition. It was very like Social Network is sort of what it reminded me of a little bit. But then it would like come in with the sort of like creepy like it was basically like the bees theme, like their killing theme
Hmm.
basically would come in. And like it was that was like really great, really effective at being like tense and horrifying and creepy and
And it's
yeah,
terrifying in itself the fact that how it operates is it goes through your ear into your brain into the pain center of your brain basically, where it's
mm,
the most agonizing pain, and people are wanting to kill themselves rather than endure it.
right.
So that's just terrifying. Like,
We we still never found out. So I when initially started, I thought there was going to be some interesting thing about specifically about her, the first lady who died, Joe Powers,
hmm
some
yeah,
journalist who
we
wrote
didn't know
some
exactly. Yeah, they were just kind of vague about it, but she's
yeah,
the wheelchair. What was it
the wheelchair martyr.
martyr? They called her the wheelchair martyr. I don't know what that
Yeah,
means, but
I don't either.
so horrible that it, well, we thought it inspired this movement, but he really just incepted it.
Mm.
But still, people were so hateful that they're going to Facebook groups and matching together, pulling money together to send fucking bitch cake.
Yeah, I know. Like, what is that? Like, how sad? Like, how sad and pathetic do you have to be to do something like that? That's the thing that like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
And I find the freaking Tusk's reaction to the kid
to the
dancing, that was
kid,
like
yeah,
so comically like over the
comically over the
top.
top. He's just like
Fucking
he doesn't remember what he was like when he was a kid. I guess you know, like he was just
I
like,
can't even fathom that from like the meanest celebrity to do something like that so blatantly like out of touch with like anything like there's not
yeah. I
it's
mean,
not the kid like it would be one thing if the kid was mocking him like the kid
yeah.
was it's a kid doing a dance in like an homage to you.
Right. One thing that's also like I think of people that I know that say like they don't really care much for kids, but they would never ever like be that
This
you know
goofy
like I can't even
motherfucker.
yeah it's like you that's actually like cruelty to a child like I
To do that period and also to
yeah
have no self-awareness like you're on live TV to say something like that would not be received well. I mean,
yeah kind of wild
wild. So he deserved it. His
yeah
consequences.
that's right yeah
But geez, 387,000 deaths. I think those like Blue took felt the blame for that, but it was 100% on that guy who tweeted it out. His his selfie with sensitive information, right? Like that's those deaths are all on him.
Yeah.
He tipped him off. They literally had him. There's like Blue had clocked him. It would have been done there.
It theoretically though, because I don't think that safe room doesn't seem like that's where he actually was though.
That's
He
what they
was
were
remote the whole
implying,
time.
though.
He was like
Was
in
it the
way some
same
other.
location? Like you showed him the same
No,
location. So that's what I
no,
thought.
because
He ran off to after he had been tipped off. Is what I
right,
thought.
but the he couldn't have run off immediately to. He was in another country. He was in like a Middle Eastern country.
Yeah. Well,
Like at the end when it showed him like getting up and changing his look, he was like out in the middle of literally nowhere.
but I think it. I don't think he was like instantly there. I think he went from there though, because they showed he was like living in that.
But they didn't really show much when they showed that shot. They only showed like a very little. They basically showed the shot that we saw when we saw the reveal that
Mhm.
he wasn't even in the country. That's the whole twist is that like he wasn't even there the whole time. It was all blind, basically.
Maybe, maybe, yeah. But I like
That's
and
kind of what
that.
I got. That's kind of what I got from it
Maybe
anyway.
that's the case.
But
So then that guy didn't do it. With tipping him off, it wasn't that bad.
it wasn't
I
that
thought
bad though.
him
That was a
tipping it off
terrible.
single handedly went from like 2 deaths or 3 deaths to like 387,000 deaths because of that.
No, I
But
don't think so. I think I no, I think that was sort of the plan. That was the plan all along, basically. Was to punish everybody who like that's why he was collecting all that information the whole time.
and so did them deactivating it in that moment, did that trigger it?
I don't necessarily know. I don't know. I don't think so. I almost feel like that was like a gotcha. Like they could deactivate it. He set up all the breadcrumbs for them to be able to take it into their own hands. So basically they feel bad either way because either they don't get to that, they don't trail the breadcrumbs far enough and he
Yeah.
sets it off anyways,
Yeah.
or they do deactivate it and he sets them off anyways. So then they feel bad regardless of what happens. Like that's sort of the cruelty
True.
of his move there.
Yeah. So
True true sociopath energy.
yeah,
True psychopath. Not even so psychopath energy right there.
it's a game of consequences. The whole thing, there was every day at 5 p.m. whoever the most votes would be killed. And this
Mm.
the guy, his name was Tom, the Chancellor.
Mhm.
He was all like, he was about to just run a smear campaign just to get the number one vote on the other guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was like no assurance he could give them. Like they thought they were safe out. They had soldiers out there. They weren't safe. It doesn't matter how reinforced the thing is. It seems they always find a way in there.
Crazy.
Anything else on the episode?
Acting performances are good. Some of the things that I really like, the camera work in this was very interesting because I know I kept saying that it does feel very much like it's shot like a like kind of a run of the mill British kind of like police procedural, but that's also kind of disingenuous because the camera work is it's unique enough to be like really off and unsettling. Where it's like things are like normally I would say like angles and shots in a lot of those have it so that you can see like I noticed so many shots where it's like the bottom third of the screen is like the people and then there's other like
Mm-hmm.
in I'm talking about not even just the close-ups where it does that, but I'm talking about like the wide shots where it does that. There's still like so much like negative space and it's like it's really this like gives you this eerie sense of like looming on top of the characters the whole time, which is
Yeah.
like it's so interesting because yeah, again, a British police procedural would they'd lower that frame, they'd make it a little bit more comfortable, easy. We're in there with the characters. Here it's like it feels like everything's towering over them like most of the time. It's really interesting, and the rack zoom or the rack focus rather, just fantastic. Like
Mm-hmm.
every use of that was just like perfect use.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's like subtle horror vibes to it. There definitely
Mm,
something derivative of the birds. Like you definitely
yeah,
right with that. It's
yeah.
very similar. What's more terrifying? I wonder. The birds. It's almost like it's inexplicable, right? It's like that's what's
Mm.
terrifying about it. It's just like birds just suddenly coming after you, and it's terrifying by itself. This one's terrifying, but you know where it's coming from at least. But it's still terrifying. Like it goes all out. It's
It's
not just
it's
pecking you.
because
It's freaking
it's
going.
because they're so small. I think that's the other thing that's
Yeah,
terrifying.
and
They're
I
small,
hate
but there's
seeing so many of them together.
so many of them. Yeah,
That that
yeah.
gets
Not
me.
a big fan of the swarms, huh?
Yeah.
So maybe beehives aren't for you.
No,
I
no, I
said
don't think
during the
so.
reaction, I said which is interesting because I was talking about like, yeah, bees are great. And bees are great. Um,
I
but
feel like
not one
that's
I
the
like.
closest thing I have to a fear of something that way.
Mm,
Like a lot of like a swarm or a lot of bugs like centering on something like that.
yeah. Oh
Especially
well, guess
especially
what?
coming
I
towards
don't
you
like
with
it.
this idea.
I don't like it. I don't like it with roach. I don't like it with like cockroaches. That gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah.
I've seen my way too much of that for myself to be happy in life. So, um, but you
Yeah.
know,
So which one's more terrifying? These guys? I mean,
the birds or the bees.
exactly.
Not the birds and the bees, but the birds or the bees. Um,
Imagine if both
yeah,
were
no,
happening at once.
both are happening
The
at once.
birds
I think
and the bees.
the birds would probably hurt initially more, but it seems like the bees would, as soon as they get inside your ears and your body, that they burrow in, and that's wild.
Mm-hmm. Birdemic at least tries
Mm.
to give meaning. It's like there's science
I've never
behind
I've
it.
I've never seen Birdemic. I don't know. I wasn't around. We did that for our floor was supposed to have done that in college. It said that rather some of them did, but I wasn't around. I had something going on, so I couldn't watch it with them, and I was bummed.
I think I only watched it through the JonTron video. I think that's all I
Oh
know of
really?
it, but that shows a lot of that movie. It's really rough. Um, okay,
Big bad, yeah.
where do we rank Hated in the Nation? So
Boy, I don't know. It was really good.
so far we got Playtest, White Christmas, Entire History of You, San Junipero, 15 Million Merits, Shut Up and Dance, Nosedive, Be Right Back, White Bear, National Anthem, Men Against Fire, The Waldo Moment.
I think I would put it probably just below San Junipero. Is
Mm.
where that's about where I'm feeling.
For me personally, I think I always like 15 Million Merits more. I know that might not be a popular opinion, but I think I still like find that so charming. But
It's
like,
tough. It's tough. It's like right around there. It's like around the same level for a different reason.
mm.
Um,
I've never been like as big a fan of this episode as some people have. But this is one of the ones where I've seen is like number one for some people. It's like and it's like halfway for some people. I saw
that's
one where it was
interesting.
like really low on one list, but I know my
Yeah.
brother always says it's one of his favorite episodes too. Um,
That's really interesting. I wonder, is it because it is like it just keeps you like sort of really wanting to know like what's gonna happen next type of thing?
mm,
Because like I think it keeps that tension and the mystery up like super well. I don't again. I think my preference for whodunits are for ones that are a little bit um more like people that aren't come that don't come in and the end of like in the middle of the third act, which is sort of what this felt like. Um,
right.
and it's like
I think it's objectively like well done. It's like well made,
yeah,
like we say, well shot, good music. But
yeah.
I think I would even put it lower than that. I would put it below Nosedive maybe.
Mm.
So are we in disagreement
Yeah,
on this one?
yeah, I think so. I think I'm gonna have to shuffle around my whole list to be honest, because like I feel like Nosedive. The more I've thought about it, the more I like Nosedive. I feel like it's a little low.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know honestly.
It's tough. I
Yeah, it's
mean,
tough. It is tough
but for
because
me,
this is
Yeah, I really like it, but I think I like the others more. So for me, I would put it in eighth place. As
Okay.
crazy as it is to say, eighth out of 12, 13
Wow.
that we've done.
Wow.
But the ones above it are so solid to me. Nosedive, Shut Up and Dance, 15 Million Merits.
Yeah, that's true. Those are all really great. The ending is a little strange. I will say that because it's like they were hiding the fact that they were going after him. I guess in the end, in order to get
Right.
him. But it's like, okay, well, so what's the story there? Is like, are they going to publicly excoriate him, or is this just a simple revenge plot now? Like, are they just gonna
I
go
think
kill
she's
him?
gonna kill him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is like, okay, I guess that's fair.
Consequences.
Mm-hmm.
But then she has to die too because she killed someone. So someone's gonna kill her, and they gotta kill that person. Consequences
A
keep going.
never-ending eye for an eye, the whole world to go
Do you
blind.
think that's based to kill that guy? Would you agree morally?
Hashtag beast.
Like
Yeah.
morally, you think that's okay? Actually,
No,
yeah.
not necessarily. I mean, I don't know. Like, as a vendetta, like it's probably bad, but like that guy killed like indiscriminately 300,000 people just because they said mean things online.
Yeah.
This is actually an interesting discussion. We didn't really talk about this, like because it is sort of at its face value. We've been kind of like watching this for a long time, obviously, so it is a little late, but like it is an interesting like everything about like the hate people get online and like yeah, I it's horrible and like it's I think it's unfortunate that people can have that are able to have the anonymity that they have online when they can actually do legitimate harm to people. But the only thing about it is that like I mean people can say like horrible stuff online, but like that doesn't necessarily mean that like um that doesn't mean that they're all like 100% completely to blame. You know, like people I've seen like is I've seen breakdowns of like disagreements or people where people are getting like really heated and really insulting and like being actually like cruel and mean to each other. And then someone would like coming back to it and be like, "Hey man, I'm having a bad time right now." And like I mean and that's not to make an excuse. It's just like I apologize. Like people coming back to things they said when they're in a bad place or when they're heated or saying something like that and it's like then people coming to regret what they said without even anything like this extreme happening, you know, where people are coming in being like, "Oi, oi, oi, you know what's good, what's going on," and then they're like hating on people for doing things, and it's like people do tend to like rally around like outrage culture, right? You know, it's like look at this horrible thing these people did, and then people all jump on a board to bang the wagon, and then it's like, oh, there's the next horrible thing people did. So it's like that actually makes whole lot of sense, but like you know that shouldn't necessarily condemn people for that. But at the same time, it's like, well, should you really be like participating in that in any way? And it's like, well, probably not. So I don't know. I like the episode for exploring a lot of those ideas as well.
There's a
Um,
difference between but there's a difference between unhealthy discourse or even saying some rude things to
to
wishing death
outright
on
asking
people.
for wishing they die. Yeah. Well, that's where it's maybe a little extreme. You know, it's like
Like,
I don't think there's that many. I mean, I guess I can't say because I've never seen it, but like I can't imagine that there's that many people wishing death, particularly that many people in Britain wishing death upon people. You know, it's like wow.
387,000. No, I feel it's like I'm saying, it's the underlying story that people aren't talking about is like a large portion of them are just talking
Yeah,
about the
we're
hashtag
just talking about the hashtag. Yeah, yeah,
and they caught strays. They caught strays in a big
yeah.
way.
Or like, how do you do that with like news publications or something? Like, how are they tracking that? Like, I guess maybe they didn't track those because they weren't tied to a phone or
Yeah.
something. But it's like
Just
you
on
think like,
this, did they ever say Twitter, or was it just an
no, I don't think
undescript?
so.
Yeah,
I
an
think it's an
undescript social
undescript
media.
thing because yeah, yeah.
Yeah, these hashtags on this website. Yeah,
On all of social media,
on the social media.
you're gonna take social. You're gonna take the social media
Yeah,
down.
take it all down. The
Yeah.
whole internet. The whole fucking thing. All right. Yeah. So you're supposed to. I think you're supposed to grapple with the idea. It's like, well, they kind of got what they deserve, right? They're little shitters online, wish death on people,
Yeah.
but it's also awful,
But it's
awful
like,
at the same time.
yeah.
I don't think anyone
I would.
deserves that, but the problem is there's like there's tons of teenagers like a ton and
Oh
kids
yeah.
that participate in this.
Yeah, because they don't realize like when you're young you feel that you're invincible and you don't feel that you don't understand the ramifications or the consequences of things that you do and say, especially when you're online. So
Mm-hmm.
that yeah, that's there's a lot of teenagers that died from that.
And there's someone
Just
who got their life saved because they didn't do the hashtag right, like they misspelled it or something,
yeah,
and they lucked out. They're like, get the God. Hashtag space death
yeah.
two, and it breaks the hashtag, and that's good. All right, so for me, eighth place. Where do you put it?
I think it's after San Junipero. It might also be my kind of love for British mysteries in general. And the way that this was like again, it was totally taking the vibes of that, but it was shot in a completely unique and interesting way. Um, the acting too was very like it was very understated. I think we've often talked about like the show-stopping performances of people in different episodes, but even particularly just the season. But like this is like a great effort from everybody because they are not nobody's over the top. Nobody's like, oh wow, they're giving like a stellar performance. It's all understated, but that's to the benefit of the story and the benefit of the realism and how good this feels.
Hmm.
I think that's something that I also really appreciate about this episode a lot. So
Okay.
yeah,
Well, next week we'll come back and we'll talk about season three. Okay.
season in review.
Review it,
That's
give
right.
it a rating. That'll be interesting. I
Yeah,
think this is a lot more consistent of season than like past seasons where it'll be like 3 episodes, 4 episodes, and there's like two really good ones, two really bad ones, or like a mixed bag.
yeah.
This one I think has been solid all
It's
the
been
way
solid the whole
through.
way through. Yeah,
But
except for I think Men Against Fire is a
the low
little bit
point,
of
yeah,
little bit of a dud, but the rest have been like kind of banger after banger here. Yeah.
yeah. So come back next week, discussion, and then after that we'll be going into Survivor. All right, it'll be next season of Survivor, and then not until we're done that season will we go into season 4. So it'll be a few months break at that
Yeah.
point. But yeah, come back. We'll wrap it up a little bit, and then
Yeah.
we'll say our goodbyes for now. All
All
right.
right.
In the meantime,
Cool.
what video would you recommend our viewers watch?
Go check out our go check out. Yeah, I can't think of anything. My brain's kind of fried right now. Go check
um,
out our. Hmm?
I was just gonna start naming things.
Go check out Tarqaron Mad Libs. You need a good chuckle after
Just
seeing a heavy
complete
episode like this.
wackiness.
Just
Yeah,
go wacky.
yeah. If
Yeah,
you don't know,
check it out.
my brother made custom Mad Libs for us based on reviews we did on the channel and videos we did
Yeah,
on this channel. So it's fun.
it is fun.
More of
It's
those
good
to come
stuff.
as well. All right. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave a comment, hit the notification bell, and click the links in the description for our social medias. For the social media.
The social media.
All right. Until next time. Cunt.